There's a shadow that returns every afternoon right where that tree stands. Maybe you've seen it too, a tall, beautiful tree just outside someone's front door. It provides shade, privacy, maybe even comfort. But every day, as the sun lowers, that tree casts a dark shape across the threshold, blocking the light, silencing the breeze, turning what should feel open and welcoming into something heavy. Most people plant trees with the best intentions. They want protection, beauty, or simply something alive to greet them at the end of the driveway. But the space right in front of your door is more than decorative. It's where energy, air, and light enter your life. It's where movement becomes momentum. And when the wrong tree stands too close, it doesn't just block the view, it blocks flow. Over time, that shadow becomes more than physical. You might start to feel it in other ways: tension that lingers, conversations that don't soften, or just a quiet sense that something feels off without explanation. This isn't about superstition. It's about space, about how something as simple as a tree, beautiful, familiar, can become a barrier without you even noticing. So today, we're going to look at the trees we plant, the ones we keep, and the shadows we may need to gently move so our homes, and we ourselves, can finally breathe again. Part 1. Your front door is your home's breathing space. Your front door is more than an entry point, it's the place your home breathes. It's where the day begins, where it ends. It's where groceries get dropped, where kids rush in, where you pause before turning the key at night. We rarely think of it as a living space, but it is. Because just like our bodies take in oxygen, our homes take in light, air, and energy right through that door. And like any breathing space, it can get blocked. Not always in ways we notice. Not with clutter or trash or something dramatic, but in softer, quieter ways. Like a tree planted just a little too close. Like a shadow that falls at just the wrong angle. Like something beautiful that was meant to welcome but instead slowly begins to withhold. In energy work and in good design, there's one truth that holds: the more open your entry feels, the more freely everything else can move. And yet, so many homes suffer not from what's inside, but from what's just outside the door. A misplaced object, a wall of bushes, a tree whose branches now press against the space where breath should pass. If you've ever come home and paused not for a peaceful sigh, but because something felt off, this may be why. The entry was never meant to feel guarded or shadowed or tight. It was meant to feel like an invitation, like a soft inhale after a long day. When something blocks that, it doesn't just change how the front of your house looks. It changes how it feels to live inside it. In some homes, this shows up as small, persistent tension. Doors that creak, lights that flicker, relationships that feel like they're circling the same old stories. In others, it's physical: headaches, poor sleep, a low, lingering sense of heaviness that no candle or cleaning can fully clear. And we search for solutions: new paint, new rugs, a full home reset, when often the shift needs to begin at the very first step, the threshold. Your front door, when clear and open, becomes a partner. It welcomes in more than people. It lets in breath, movement, even opportunity. When blocked, it becomes a silent barrier, not to keep others out, but to keep your own energy in, compressed, stagnant, breathless. This is why where you plant matters. Why that tree you placed out front, beautiful, strong, full of life, might be doing the opposite of what you hoped. Not because it's bad, but because it's in the wrong place. Because its shade, its roots, its silent weight has started to take up more than space, it's started to take up permission. When the entry breathes, you breathe. When light touches your doorstep, you begin to feel like you're coming home, not just to your house, but to yourself. And if you've been feeling disconnected, out of rhythm, or like the air in your home has gone still, then this is where we begin. Not by removing beauty, but by remembering where it belongs. Not by blaming the tree, but by asking softly, honestly, if it's still serving the life you want to invite in. So, take a moment today. Stand outside your front door. Look at what's standing with you, and what might be standing in the way. Because sometimes, all it takes to shift everything inside is to clear the breath at the entrance. Part 2. Trees you should never plant near the door. Number 1. Ficus fig trees: deep, spreading roots that symbolize emotional attachment and memories that don't let go. There's something quietly stubborn about a ficus tree. At first glance, it looks peaceful, lush, leafy, unbothered. It's the kind of tree you see in well-kept neighborhoods, nestled near front porches, often trimmed into gentle, ornamental shapes. But beneath that calm surface, something deeper is always happening. Ficus roots don't grow straight down. They stretch out, wide, invasive, persistent. They move beneath the surface, silently weaving into soil, into foundations, into the spaces they were never invited. And that's exactly why this tree, beautiful as it is, should never be placed near your front door. In the language of energy, ficus doesn't just represent greenery. It symbolizes attachment. Not connection, the healthy, living kind, but emotional entanglement. The kind that doesn't let go. The kind that holds on, even when everything else has moved forward. And when you plant that kind of tree near the most sensitive part of your home, its entrance, you're doing more than placing decor. You're giving those roots permission to hold space where flow is meant to happen. People often choose ficus because it's easy. It survives most climates. It grows quickly. It fills space. But just like emotional patterns, its ease is deceptive. What looks like stability is often quiet resistance. What feels like comfort might really be control. And the longer it stays, the harder it becomes to remove. I once visited a woman named Grace. She had a ficus by her front step for over a decade. It was planted when her husband died, something to care for, she said. And for a while, it helped. It grew fast. It gave her something to trim, to water, to check in on every morning. But years later, she noticed something odd. Her home felt heavy, stale. Visitors came less often. Her kids called, but never stayed on the line. She said she couldn't pinpoint it. It wasn't grief anymore, just weight. We walked outside together. The ficus stood right by her door, its roots beginning to lift the edge of the walkway. "I never thought about moving it," she whispered. "It's just always been there." That's the power of roots like that. Not just the literal ones underground, but the emotional ones we don't question. We plant them in moments of transition, loss, fear, change, and they grow quietly beside us until one day they're not supporting us anymore, they're holding us in place. In energy terms, ficus near the front door can cause emotional congestion. It traps memories, anchors grief, and holds conversations that should have ended. You may find yourself playing the same thoughts over and over, staying close to what once was, instead of opening to what could be. And while the house may seem fine, tidy, lived in, cared for, its emotional climate never fully shifts. Something lingers, something remains rooted. This doesn't mean ficus has no place in your life. It means it needs the right place. Somewhere it can grow without suffocating the space that's meant for movement. If you love the tree, consider relocating it further into the yard, away from thresholds. Let it symbolize memory, but not control. Let it mark a chapter, not dictate the next. And if you're unsure, here's a simple test. Stand at your front door. Look at the ficus. Breathe in. Ask yourself, is this tree holding me or holding me back? Because homes, like hearts, need to evolve. They need light, circulation, and the courage to let old roots be trimmed. And sometimes, the smallest shift, moving a tree just a few feet away, can create space not just for air, but for something new to arrive. So before you plant that ficus, or before you let the one you have grow deeper, pause. Remember that your front door isn't just where people walk in. It's where energy begins. And what you place there sets the tone for everything that follows. Let that tone be light. Let it be free. Let it be rooted in now. Number 2. Poplar trees grow tall fast but have shallow roots, bringing unstable, erratic energy. Poplars grow tall quickly, too quickly, some might say. One season they're a sapling, the next, they're towering over the driveway, swaying in the breeze like they've always belonged there. It's easy to admire them. Their speed feels like progress. Their shade comes fast. But there's something hidden beneath that vertical rise, something we rarely look at until it's too late. Their roots. Unlike what their height might suggest, poplars have shallow, wide-spreading root systems. They stretch just below the surface, eager but fragile. And while they're searching outward, they don't anchor deep, which means they may stand tall, but they don't truly stand firm. And that contradiction matters deeply when you plant them near the one place in your home that needs the most grounded energy: the front door. Energetically, poplar trees carry a kind of nervous ambition. They want to go higher, reach farther, but without stability underneath. And when planted near your entrance, that energy becomes yours. You may find yourself racing ahead mentally, taking on too many tasks, jumping between ideas but never really landing, never really resting. The energy becomes scattered, erratic, like the roots themselves always in motion, never secure. In homes with poplars near the entrance, people often describe a strange kind of agitation, a restlessness. Plans that start strong but fizzle, family routines that never quite settle. Sometimes it's subtle, like keys always being misplaced. Sometimes it's bigger projects that get halfway done, conversations that circle back to nowhere, and no one blames the tree. Why would they? It's just outside, providing shade. But the truth is, the entrance to your home sets the rhythm for everything inside. If that rhythm is unstable, so is everything it touches. I remember one couple in Colorado who planted 2 poplars right at the end of their front walk. They loved the look: symmetry, elegance, quick growth. But within a year, their walkway began to crack. The concrete lifted in places. Then came tension between them, between work schedules, even in their sleep. "We're always doing," she said, "but never getting anywhere." When we stepped outside, one of the poplar roots had surfaced, twisting like a vein under the soil. She looked at it and sighed. "It looks like us." That moment stayed with me, because poplars are like that. They mirror momentum without depth. And if you're already in a season of transition or recovery, their energy can pull you further away from yourself. So what do you do if you have one near your front door? You don't need to remove it entirely, but you may need to reframe the relationship. Step back. Create distance. Use natural borders like stone, ground cover, or flower beds to interrupt the energy line between the tree and your entrance. Let your doorway reclaim its calm. And if you're considering planting one, ask yourself what you're rushing to grow. Is it something you've truly grounded in? Or something you want to rise up too fast, just to fill the space? Because what we place near our door, just like what we allow into our lives, needs more than surface strength. It needs quiet depth, stable roots, and the willingness to rise only when the ground beneath is ready. Your home deserves that. So do you. Number 3. Juniper/pine evergreens represent isolation and stillness. Their presence near the door creates emotional coldness and disconnection. They stay green all year, they weather storms, they don't shed much, and they give a sense of constancy. That's why so many people plant evergreens, especially juniper or pine, near their front doors. They feel dependable, stoic, safe. But what feels safe isn't always what makes us feel seen. And what stays constant on the outside doesn't always support what's changing inside. Juniper and pine trees, especially when placed close to your entrance, carry a specific kind of energy: quiet isolation. Not peace, not calm, but stillness that doesn't move. They don't open, they don't bloom, they don't invite, they endure. And when that energy sits at your threshold, the very place where life should move in and out, it can create an invisible wall, not protective, but distant. In homes where these evergreens frame the entryway, I often hear the same quiet story. A family that speaks less, a visitor that doesn't linger, a space that looks composed, but feels a little too quiet. People say, it's peaceful, but if you ask how they feel inside, they pause. Because sometimes the peace isn't peace, it's emotional numbness. The kind that settles when there's no room left for warmth to enter. The truth is, junipers and pines don't invite energy. They contain it. They hold still. They reflect a kind of strength that can turn inward and become self-protection. And when placed at your door, that pattern can echo back into your relationships. You may find yourself retreating, not sharing as much, or feeling like others have pulled away, when really the signal was sent from the doorstep. There was a man I worked with in Oregon. His wife had passed a few years prior, and he had planted 2 pine trees by the front door. They made the house feel steady, he said. And they did. But he also hadn't had a single friend visit in over a year. They always say they'll stop by, he told me, but somehow they never do. When we looked closer, the trees weren't just near the door, they arched over it, like arms folded across a chest. When we moved them just 6 feet back, replanting them toward the edges of the yard, his porch felt different, lighter. Within a month, his neighbor brought coffee by. Small moment, big shift. This isn't about superstition. It's about emotional climate. Trees like juniper and pine hold the kind of stillness that's sacred in the right place, like a memorial garden, a quiet meditation spot. But at your door, where life should be moving in and out, where joy, conversation, warmth, and change are meant to flow, they can become a silent freeze. So if your entry feels cold, not in temperature, but in tone, step outside and look again. Are those evergreens welcoming? Or are they bracing? Are they holding space for life? Or just holding on? If they're already planted, you don't have to remove them, but you can soften their effect. Trim them back. Open a window of space between their form and your door. Add life near them, flowers, soft lighting, a wind chime, something that moves, something that speaks. Because your home's first breath should feel alive, not muted, not distant, and certainly not cold. Evergreens are strong, but you are allowed to want warmth. You are allowed to reshape strength into softness, starting at your door. Number 4. Oak trees, heavy shade, dominant energy. Symbolize strength, but can overburden the atmosphere and stifle harmony. Oaks are noble. That's the word people often use. Noble, grounded, strong. And they are. Towering trunks. Branches that stretch wide like arms across generations. They're the kind of tree we carve names into. The kind we let children climb. The kind we say will always be here. And that's exactly why we trust them. We plant them close, especially near the front of the home, thinking they'll protect, shield, anchor us. But sometimes, what we think is protection is actually quiet domination. Oak trees carry big energy. Not chaotic, not fast, but dense, weighty, commanding. And when planted near your front door, they can begin to overpower the space, not by intention, but by sheer presence. The doorway that was meant to breathe, to feel open and accessible, begins to darken. Not just in light, but in tone. The path home starts to feel slower, heavier, and over time, so do you. In Feng Shui terms, oak energy represents strength without flexibility. It's reliable, but unyielding. Protective, but not always gentle. And while that can be grounding in the right place, in a backyard, a field, or off to the side at your front entrance, it can create a subtle imbalance: strength without softness, shelter without invitation. I once visited a woman named Deborah in Virginia. Her home was tucked under 2 massive oaks that had been there longer than the house itself. "They've watched over us," she said. But inside the home, there was a kind of stillness and almost pressured quiet. Her adult children visited less often. She felt tired even in the morning. And her words stuck with me. "I don't know why I feel like I'm always holding something." We stood outside, looking at those trees, majestic. Yes, but their limbs stretched wide over the roof, their roots pushing at the walkway. "They've never done anything wrong," she whispered. And they hadn't. But sometimes energy doesn't have to be wrong to be too much. Oak near the front door can create a home that feels serious, structured, but also rigid. Visitors may pause before entering. Laughter feels quieter. Change moves slower. And while that can feel comforting for a while, especially after loss or instability, it can also make growth harder. Harmony, by nature, needs space to move. If you have an oak tree near your entrance, you don't need to cut it down. That's not what this is about. But it is important to rebalance the conversation. Your doorway shouldn't feel like it's being watched. It should feel like it's being welcomed. That means light. That means movement. That means softening what's too fixed. Trim branches that press toward the door. Add color and softness to the porch, flowers, fabrics, texture that breaks up the monotony of bark and shadow. If the tree is too close, consider landscaping that redirects attention, guiding the eye and energy toward the entrance itself, not the giant above it. Because even the most grounded homes need to breathe. Even strength needs softness beside it. And your front door, that sacred threshold, deserves more than shade. It deserves light. It deserves balance. Oaks are not the enemy, but when placed too close, they forget their guests, not gatekeepers. And if your home has been feeling heavy, if joy feels too quiet, or life feels paused, it may not be you. It may just be time to ask the oak to step back just a little, so something lighter can step in. Number 5. Cypress trees, often found in cemeteries, symbolize silence, stillness, and endings, not ideal for spaces of growth. Cypress trees are hauntingly beautiful. Tall, slender, almost statuesque, they carry an elegance that's hard to ignore. They line long driveways, stand like sentinels in manicured gardens, and often appear in photos meant to evoke peace or tradition. But they also appear somewhere else, quietly, consistently, and without question, cemeteries. And that's not by accident. Cypress trees have long been associated with mourning, silence, and finality. Their presence is calm, but it's not the kind of calm that stirs joy or renewal. It's the kind that invites stillness, reflection, even distance. In spaces meant for rest, they are sacred. But near the front door of a living home, that stillness can become a quiet freeze. When you place a cypress tree close to your entrance, you're planting more than a tree. You're marking space with a symbol of endings in a place meant for beginnings. Your front door is supposed to be alive, responsive. It's where laughter should echo, where movement flows in and out freely. A place that says, "You're welcome here. Life is welcome here." But the energy of a cypress doesn't speak in invitation. It holds space, but not for what's coming. It holds what has already passed. I've worked with families who've unknowingly created this dynamic. One woman in Northern California had planted 2 cypress trees years ago, during a season of grief. She wanted something that felt graceful, timeless, and they were. But years later, she admitted her home still felt paused. Not unhappy, just emotionally stuck, like it had stopped evolving. "It's as if something's waiting," she said, "but I don't know what for." That's the effect of symbolic stillness, placed at the threshold. It keeps energy circling, rather than arriving. Now, this doesn't mean cypress is a bad tree. In memorial gardens, spiritual retreats, or along the borders of large estates, they're stunning. But near your door, where joy, surprise, and connection are meant to enter, it becomes too much stillness, too close. Over time, this can show up as emotional fatigue. Fewer visits, conversations that don't go deep, a home that looks lovely but feels distant. The shift doesn't have to be dramatic. You don't need to remove the tree if it's already there, but you can begin to reopen the flow. Prune back what leans into the entrance. Introduce movement like soft grasses, wind chimes, or blooms that sway with the breeze. These add emotional flexibility. They signal, this is a space that grows. If you're drawn to the visual of a cypress, consider planting it further from the door, where it can hold quiet without muting life. Let it be a gentle guardian, not a gatekeeper. And always balance it with something that invites, not just impresses. Life needs room to laugh, to stumble in with muddy shoes, to change its mind. Let your doorway reflect that. Because homes, like hearts, are not meant to be monuments. They're meant to live. And while we honor what we've lost, we also make space for what still wants to bloom. So ask yourself, standing at your door, is this where life pauses, or where it begins again? Number 6. See almond trees bang, constant leaf fall, large canopies. Bring chaos, inconsistency, and energetic confusion. There's something mesmerizing about a sea almond tree. Its broad leaves turn golden with the seasons. Its wide canopy offers generous shade, and in the right light, it feels almost theatrical, like nature putting on a slow, graceful dance. But what makes the sea almond so captivating is also what makes it quietly disruptive. When placed near the front door, it's always in motion, but never quite in rhythm. Sea almond trees shed constantly, not seasonally, relentlessly. Leaves flutter down even on still days, carpeting the walkway, the driveway, the porch. At first, it feels romantic, like a storybook scene. But eventually, the sweeping becomes routine. The mess feels endless, and that's when the energy begins to shift from whimsical to unsettling. In energy terms, the sea almond doesn't represent decay, it represents inconsistency. Its beauty is wild, unpredictable. And when placed near the entrance of a home, the very place meant to hold intention, clarity, and flow, this chaos becomes more than visual. It becomes emotional. You may find yourself forgetting things more often, feeling overwhelmed before the day even begins, not knowing why small tasks feel heavier, or why the mood in the house swings with no clear cause. This is what I call invisible static. The home looks fine, there's no clutter inside. But outside, at the edge of the threshold, energy is shifting too fast to settle. The front door, the place that should ground you before you leave and soften you when you return, is tangled in constant debris, constant interruption. I once visited a couple in Florida who loved their sea almond. It's like having a natural umbrella, they said, and it was stunning. But the wife confessed that since planting it, she felt scattered, like I'm chasing the day instead of living it. Their conversations felt shorter. Guests rarely used the front path anymore. And when I looked at the base of the tree, it was clear, even in early morning, there were already leaves covering the welcome mat. We clean it daily, she shrugged. It just never stops. That's the point. It doesn't stop. And when chaos becomes routine, we forget what calm even feels like. If you have a sea almond near your entrance, the solution isn't necessarily removal but redirection. Can you move it further out, where its wildness is welcome but no longer disruptive? Can you interrupt the line between the canopy and your door with softer, grounded plants like lavender, rosemary, or low hedges? These create energetic buffers, allowing movement without confusion. And if you're drawn to the sea almond's beauty, ask yourself, do I need movement right now, or do I need peace? Because they're not the same. And your front door should always reflect the emotional state you want to cultivate, not the one you're trying to survive. Some trees hold memories. Others hold space. But the sea almond, for all its grace, tends to unravel. Not intentionally, not harshly, but slowly, steadily, like thoughts you can't finish or rest you can't reach. And that's not the kind of welcome any home deserves. Let beauty serve you, not scatter you. And let your threshold be a place of return, not recovery. Because the path to your door should never feel like something to clean up, it should feel like coming home. Part 3. What happens when a tree is in the wrong place? Sometimes, it's not what you planted, it's where you planted it. A tree in the wrong place doesn't shout. It doesn't break windows or slam doors. But it changes things, slowly, like a coat you didn't realize was too heavy until spring came. Or a lamp that's just a little too dim to read by. The effects are subtle at first, and that's what makes them so easy to miss. But homes are sensitive, and your front door is especially so. It's not just about what it lets in, it's about how it frames your return. A misplaced tree, whether it casts too much shadow, drops too many leaves, or simply holds a stillness that doesn't belong, can start to alter the rhythm of your days without you even noticing. You might feel it in your mood, a tension that greets you at the step, a feeling of overwhelm before you've even set your keys down. You might feel it in relationships, conversations that stay shallow, visitors who come less often, a quiet sense that your home has turned inward without your permission. The space feels paused, not dramatic, just muted. This happens because energy, like water, needs movement. And certain trees placed too close to that vital point of entry start to redirect that flow. They don't block it outright, they bend it, they twist it, until the natural flow of connection, ease, or joy starts to leak sideways. You may find yourself lingering in your car before going inside, or avoiding the front door altogether, using a side entrance without really knowing why. That's not laziness, that's instinct. Your body picking up on something your eyes haven't fully named. I once spoke with a woman who said, "It's like the house doesn't recognize me anymore." Her oak tree had grown so dominant at the front that her porch was always in shade. And with that shade came silence. The kind that isn't restful, just dull. Another client told me, "I feel like I'm walking through someone else's energy just to reach my own door." Her ficus had lifted the bricks along her pathway. Her literal foundation was shifting, and so was her emotional one. This isn't about fear. It's about tuning in. It's about remembering that the things we plant aren't just visual, they're vibrational. They hold mood, memory, meaning, and when placed with care, they amplify beauty. But when placed without awareness, they can start to slowly untune the harmony of a home. So if you felt like something's been off your focus, your peace, your sense of being at home, look outside, not just inside. What tree have you walked past 100 times without question? What shadow do you accept as part of the porch now, even though it didn't used to be there? Because sometimes, healing a home doesn't mean adding more. It means relocating what no longer fits. And sometimes, the most powerful change starts with a single shift of shade and the moment you finally step back into the light. Part 4: How to tell if a tree is blocking energy. Not all blockages look like barriers. Sometimes, what's in the way is beautiful, well-trimmed, familiar. Sometimes, it's the tree you pass every day, the one you planted years ago with love and hope, and now it just feels like part of the house. But energy doesn't respond to what you meant. It responds to what is. And when any tree sits too close to your front door, it can begin to press against the breath of your home, even if it looks perfect from the curb. So how do you know if a tree is blocking your energy? Start with what you feel, not what you see. Stand outside your front door. Don't clean up first. Don't tidy or trim or adjust anything. Just stand. Notice the air. Does it feel open or slightly held? Is there a breeze, or is the space unnaturally still? Look at the light. Does it reach your door, or is it filtered, weak, almost hesitant? Listen, can you hear birds, wind, life moving through, or is the space thick with quiet? If you're feeling any sense of emotional pause at your own entrance, an urge to hurry in, or to stay in your car just a little longer before going inside, that's not random. That's your nervous system picking up on subtle energetic weight. A tree that's taken root too close might not be shouting, but it is whispering, hold still. Don't move forward just yet. Pay attention to patterns. Has your sleep shifted since that tree grew larger? Do guests choose the back door instead of the front? Are you starting more than you finish projects, conversations, even meals? That's what blocked flow looks like. It shows up in the small, repeated moments of resistance. Now walk slowly toward the tree. Look at its roots. Are they reaching into your walkway, lifting the stone, or spreading beneath the surface like veins? Are the branches leaning toward the door, arching over it like a silent ceiling? Does it feel like the tree is protecting or possessing the entrance? Even the best intentions can create the wrong outcome if the placement isn't right. That tree might have been planted for shade, for remembrance, for beauty. But if it's now holding energy that your home no longer needs, heaviness, stillness, or too much strength, then it's time to listen and gently shift the dynamic. This doesn't mean you have to remove what you once loved. It just means you need to reclaim your threshold. Trim branches that dim the light. Add gentle movement, wind chimes, flowers that sway, stepping stones that guide the eye and the breath forward. Consider placing grounding elements like natural crystals or soft lighting near the base of the tree to soften its hold. Most importantly, trust your own sense. If your front door feels lighter, warmer, easier to approach after even the smallest shift, then you've already begun. Because your home isn't just a place you live in, it's a mirror. And when something outside starts to slow you down inside, it's not just landscaping. It's a message. So ask the tree, not with fear, but with feeling, are you still helping me grow, or have you begun to hold me still? That answer lives in the air, in the silence, and in how your heart feels the next time you walk through your own front door. Final. So maybe now you'll look at that tree a little differently, not with judgment, not with regret, but with awareness. Because everything we've talked about today, shade, roots, stillness, breath, it's not just about landscaping. It's about relationship, the one between your home and the energy you let in, between where things grow and where you do. What we place near our doors matters. Not because trees are good or bad, but because space is sensitive. Some trees like ficus or pine or oak carry presence so strong, it begins to speak louder than you. Some, like the cypress, hold endings instead of openings. Others, like the sea almond, invite chaos without anchoring clarity. And none of these effects are loud. They're subtle, quiet, like a door that never quite opens all the way, like a day that starts just a little off. But the beauty of energy is that it's always in motion, which means nothing is permanent. A branch can be trimmed, a tree can be moved, a doorway can breathe again. And sometimes, the most meaningful change doesn't come from new furniture or big decisions, but from asking the space itself what it needs, what it's been trying to say. So if your home has felt off balance, disconnected, or simply not as alive as it once was, this might be the moment to step outside. Look at what's grown up around you, and ask yourself softly, honestly, is this tree still serving the life I want to live? Thank you truly for spending this time with me, for listening with your heart, not just your ears, for caring enough about your home to look deeper than design. You deserve a space that welcomes you fully, that mirrors who you are becoming, not just who you've been. Wherever you are right now, I hope your next step feels lighter, that your door opens easier, and that whatever's waiting to enter your life finally finds its way in. Until next time, may your roots stay strong, but your energy always flow free.